Hello, good people. Welcome back to the Kuhb Games YouTube channel. My name is Evan, and we play goats here. I know I said we'd get back to the regular format, but just want one more video on modified right now. I want to go over the winning deck list from the goatformat.com modified goat tournament that happened this weekend on Saturday. Don't Copy ended up winning the event. Very well known, very good player, with none other than, you got it, Chaos Turbo. Everyone's favorite. So we put a lot of nerfs in the format, and Turbo still came out on top. Honestly, it's not a huge shock to me. I know there were not a lot of people talking about it. A lot of people were, hyping up Abyss Soldier and hyping up a whole bunch of recruiters and Zaborgs and a whole lot of that. And, well, Turbo still has the best engine. We still have the Night Assailants, we still have Thunder Dragons, we still have, all of the flip monsters, we still have the access to Sinister Serpent. It's still going to be the most consistent deck because it makes use of, Card Destruction, Pot of Greed, Upstart Goblin. I feel like you could probably fit Jar of Greeds in the deck still, if you wanted to. Actually, I think the addition of one other Upstart Goblin helped the deck immensely. You still have like the best traps in the format. Now you can play all three Raigeki breaks. You don't have to worry about trap dust shoot anymore, which was quite a problem for this deck. So I do think Chaos Turbo is still going to be, one of the top decks, unless, something really big happens. I don't know, like a Thunder Dragon limit or something like that. But even then, like, you've still got a good thing going here. But let's get into the deck. But first of all, I guess congratulations to Don't Copy for winning the event. Pretty awesome in a brand new meta. People had less than a week to prepare for this. Pretty impressive to take it down. To start off with 3 Chaos Sorcerers. Obviously, we're going to play the third, just to fill the BLS slot since BLS is now banned in the format. 3 copies of Dekoichi. We have 3 copies of Magician of Faith, which I thought was interesting at first, and then I realized the Cyber Jar we've got down here, Magician of Faith, really helps to capitalize off a Cyber Jar. Awesome card to hit here just to set it and get more value. So I really like the idea that Don't Copy had, adding the 3rd Magician of Faith in here to go with the Cyber Jar. We have 2 copies of Mystic Tomato. I guess since you have the 3 Thunder Dragons, 3 Magician of Faiths, you're looking pretty all right. On the lights here, Mystic Tomato can go get Sangan, which can help get you, your Sinister Serpent, your Cyber Jar if you're in a pinch, can help get Magician of Faith, of course. So Mystic Tomato can lead to a lot of good things here, and now that, recruiters are just a little bit better, sort of go back to the old ways of Chaos Turbo, throw the Mystic Tomatoes in there. Don't really hate this. We have the 2 copies of Night Assailant, because Night Assailant's Night Assailant, 3 copies of Thunder Dragon, because you have to, and then the 1-ofs, we have 1 Sangan, 1 Sinister Serpent, the aforementioned Cyber Jar, 1 Breaker, and 1 Tribe Infecting Virus. One thing that I did notice when looking over the list is there's no Tsukuyomi in the main, which may seem a little odd when you're playing all 3 copies of Dekoichi, all 3 copies of Magician of Faith, and 2 copies of Night Assailant. But I think it's for the same reason that we see the 3rd Magician of Faith in the deck. Tsukuyomi is just not as good with Cyber Jar. Tsukuyomi also, I think, loses out on a little bit of, Warriors just doesn't exist in this format. And a lot of people are playing Recruiters. So I think Tsukuyomi does lose a little bit of its value. What it does have going for it is I'm still expecting a lot of people to be playing, some sort of control decks, or at least trying them out. So it is good against Thousand Eyes Restrict, and it's also good against the Monarchs. We don't see any Zaborgs in this list, which I think was interesting. I would have expected, at least 1 Zaborg in the main deck for Chaos Turbo, but I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, Why add in the more clunky monsters when you just really don't have to with this deck? Just keep it clean. So I like that, but I understand the not including Tsukuyomi here. Spell lineup, pretty simple. Pot Graceful, Card Destruction. I guess Card Destruction with Triple Faith is also really good with Night Assailant. Just gives you an even better flip effect to hit off of the Night Assailant you discard with the Card Destruction. 1 Heavy, 1 Snatch Steal. No MST in the main. I know some people choose to not play that in Turbo. I think that's perfectly fine. 2 Book of Moon I thought was interesting. Obviously, this does go well with 3 Magician of Faith, 3 Dekoichi, so I like that. Yeah, I mean, Book of Moon, just a solid card. And especially pretty good in a meta where like you're not super sure what you might be seeing. So Book of Moon, just a very versatile, very good card. I like the addition of that. Can also help, Dekoichi beat over like Abyss Soldier, stuff like that, and can protect your Chaos Sorcerer. Don't hate the books. 2 copies of Nobleman of Crossout, cool. 3 Upstart Goblins, since we can play with 3 now. I'm not so sure this unrestriction was the greatest thing in the world, but yeah, if you're allowed to play 3 Upstarts, you're going to play all 3 in Chaos Turbo. Makes a whole lot of sense to me. 1 Mirror Force, 1 Torrential in the traps, and 3 copies of Raigeki Break. Now, this deck cannot play Trap Dust Shoot anymore, or Ring of Destruction, of course. The deck was generally starting to play 3 Trap Dust Shoots, just sort of as the standard. So you've got 4 cards in your trap lineup that you have to make up for. Obviously, these Book of Moons account for some of that, but opting to go with all 3 Raigeki Breaks and then throw a couple of Solemn Judgments in the main, I don't hate that. I think maybe you could work some not Trap Dust Shoots, Jar of Greeds in there somewhere, but I don't hate this. One of my first go-tos whenever I was looking at sort of building the Chaos Turbo deck, when I was first thinking of decks to build for this format, I think I threw all 3 Solemn Judgments in the main, but I do think some number of Solemn Judgment makes a whole lot of sense to me in the main. So that's the main. I think it's pretty solid, just very streamlined, pretty straightforward, except for the Cyber Jar, but even with the Cyber Jar in there, I think the deck was constructed very well to take advantage of that Cyber Jar, so don't hate that, and I know that is a card that a lot of people have opted to include in Chaos Turbo from time to time, so big fan of this main deck here. The side, we have 2 King Tiger Wang-Hus. A lot of times you don't see Turbo players play more than one of these, if they even play one. But King Tiger, just awesome in the format right now. And this deck can take advantage of it so well, because like the only thing that you really care about with it is Mystic Tomato, because like all of your flip effects you can just set. Of course, King Tiger doesn't really care about cards when they're set. Doesn't hit Chaos Sorcerer or Thunder Dragons. If Sangan dies, who cares? It doesn't hit Tribe or Breaker. So King Tiger is just, it's so well positioned and so good. Having 2 of this, I think, was a very good call. 2 Kaikus. This player Don't Copy may have expected people to figure out that Chaos Turbo was still going to be very good, and opted to have the 2 Kaikus in the sideboard. I don't mind that. I was playing around with Kaikus in the sideboard as well whenever I was starting to build some decks for this format, so I think that's a good inclusion. We do see the Tsukuyomi here. Not in the main, but it's in the side. So, of course, this is probably going to come in against, maybe if you see some sort of like warrior player or Earth Aggro, something that Tsukuyomi can actually attack over stuff. Could also come in against the control decks, or any deck where, maybe you just want to side the Cyber Jar out, and you just want the Tsukuyomi sort of for value. I like that. 2 Zombiras. I don't know about this one. It looks like, 2 Zombiras, 3 Sakuretsu obviously is a proven thing in Chaos Turbo in the actual GOAT format. And this kind of seems like just like a holdover here. I don't hate it. Can't think of anything like it that's specifically targeting, really, but, that you could just go up against some, random aggro deck. That makes a whole lot of sense to me, and you might want the Zombiras, you might want the Sakus to go with that, so don't hate that decision. 3 copies of Mind Control, that's perfectly fine. I mean, like, look at this deck. 2 Night Assailant, 3 Dekoichi, 3 Magician of Faith, Cyber Jar. You're going to go to town with Mind Control here. And, maybe you're thinking, if anyone else is playing Turbo or anything like this, they may not be expecting you to have 3 Mind Controls. It's been a card that not a lot of people have talked about in the context of this format. So, yeah, you can certainly get some value from that. So I like that inclusion as well. The MST is inside, along with the 3rd copy of Solemn Judgment. So overall, Very solid deck. This is probably close to what I would register going forward if I play more modified. I did play in this tournament. I registered last second with a reasoning gate because I was just like, whatever, I'll just play for fun. But I wish I had worked a little bit more on a build like this before I had entered. But yeah, I think this Chaos Turbo probably going to be a standard going forward in modified GOAT. Again, unless something big changes, it still has, you know, the best engine. Just the Thunder Dragons, now adding Mystic Tomatoes. You've got like all these flips and stuff for the package. Just really like it. It's so solid and streamlined. But yeah, I think this may be a standard going forward in modified GOATs. But I promise we're going to be getting back to the main GOAT format content very soon. So hope you all enjoyed. Be back for the next video.